I want to show you a kind of group chat I keep getting added to. They all have names like VIP Wealth Crypto Investment Elite Freedom Discussion Group with AI-generated icons and dozens, sometimes hundreds of members. These weren't just unprompted messages, they were entire conversations. Conversations with pictures of fancy vacations, golf courses, fine dining, luxury shopping, sometimes even actual bags of cash. And every weekday, without fail, the group would fill with chatter about cryptocurrency. About how the insider tips they were getting from this group chat were making them tons of money. I tried to ignore these groups for a very long time, but for every one that I left or reported, another one would pop up in its place. So instead of trying to ignore them, I tried to understand them. Why am I and so many other people being added to crypto trading group chats on WhatsApp? And who are the people in them who keep sending all of these messages? Over the course of a few weeks, I watched a bunch of these groups operate, and while each one had its own unique flair, I started to notice a playbook. Each group had a professor, like this one, Claire Thomas, who would share investment advice that sounded vaguely professional, and each professor had an assistant, like Daisy. The assistant was the first point of contact for new members who wanted to start trading, and they would regularly share a sign-up link to an investment website. Every morning, messages from members would start coming in, saying good morning, sharing lifestyle updates, and eagerly awaiting what they called trading signals from the professor. Basically, instructions on when to buy more or less of a certain cryptocurrency. Eventually, the professor would step in and share those trading signals, group chat members would post screenshots of their profits, the assistant would share the link for new people to sign up, and the next day, it would all just kind of start over again. I wanted to know if any of this was real. The pictures, the people, the investment sites. My guess was no, but I wanted to make sure. So I started doing reverse image searches on every photo in the chat. Some photos had enough clues to tell where they were taken. I matched this photo to this resort in Bali, this one to this mall in Dubai, and this one to this cafe in Shenzhen, China. Others were from New York, Los Angeles, Napa Valley, kind of these centers of global wealth and luxury. Then, one by one, I found where these photos originally came from. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, always posted to the internet long before they were used in the group chat. And always posted by accounts with different names than the ones who would eventually share them on WhatsApp. Like this picture, originally posted by this caterer in South Africa. She has a web presence, we can tell she's real. A year later, an account named Caden Aliyah shares it in one of these group chats. So yes, the people in this group chat were sharing images that were stolen from elsewhere on the internet. But what about the people themselves? Claire Thomas, Daisy, Carrie, were they real?
Robert's signal has been issued.
Brothers, you guys chat. I'm going to continue drinking.
Okay, making money is happiness.
I'm going to drive the kids to the supermarket to buy some delicious...
When you make money, you spend it in various ways. Just be happy.
I wanted to figure out who these people really were. So I reverse image searched them too. Professor Claire Thomas was actually a London-based model named Tony P. His assistant, Daisy Carey, was Nilüfer Batur, a Turkish news personality. So, made up names with pictures of real people. But others seem to be impersonating real people from real companies. Like Yasmina Haig, the assistant for a group chat called ARK Wealth Exchange 518, who appeared to be a real administrative assistant at ARK Invest, a real investment management firm. I reached out to ARK and they confirmed that neither they nor their CEO, Kathy Wood, do any business on WhatsApp. I kept going with every member of these group chats. Every photo, every identity was stolen from somewhere else on the internet. So yes, fake images and fake people. But what about the investment sites? For that, I had to learn a little bit about how to detect a fraud site. Fraud sites are often very close copies of a legitimate site. Like here, Bitmart is a legitimate cryptocurrency exchange, but Bitmart-Trans isn't. I also learned how to use a search tool called Whois. I could plug in a domain and see how long sites had been around. If a domain was registered relatively recently and expires relatively soon, there's a good chance it could be a scam. So There we had it. Fake pictures, fake people, fake investment sites. But what would happen if I clicked? I went to one of the scam sites and made an account with fake information. This was it. Every one of these WhatsApp groups I'd been added to was designed to get me onto a site like this and to get me to deposit money into it. And to deposit money, I had to send cryptocurrency to one of these wallet addresses. That's like a bank account number for sending and receiving cryptocurrencies. I used a site called Etherscan to look up those addresses' transaction histories. And I asked the blockchain intelligence firm Chainalysis to help me understand what I was seeing. They told me that the address was relatively new and that the group was primarily cashing out at a large global exchange. If people trusted the accounts in this WhatsApp group enough to send them money, I wanted to hear what those accounts had to say. But here's what happened when I did. First, I started talking to the assistants. They all cut to the chase pretty quick, trying to get me to register for an account on their site. When I tried to stall, I got a message from a fellow group member, Trip Reese, who told me that he'd been worried about losing money but had made a bit of profit. It was fascinating to see the different kinds of angles they were using to try to get me to sign up. I didn't even know if these were all different people or if they were just one person with different phones, different WhatsApp accounts, all texting me. And after a while, I wanted to see if I could talk to somebody on the phone. Most people said no. But then, unexpectedly, one assistant, Daisy, said yes. So I gave her my number and I waited for her call. At this point, I started to wonder what we were actually trying to do with this story. These group chats in my WhatsApp could be created by Chinese organized crime, conducting a crime with victims on both ends of the chat. And if the lives of the people trying to scam me were in danger, I didn't want to mess with them any more than necessary. I decided that the best thing that we could do was to narrow down our question to just one thing. Where were these scammers based? If we could confirm somehow that the scammers in my phone were part of a Chinese criminal operation, that felt like enough. So I looked for organizations fighting pig butchering scams, which helps release trafficking victims across Southeast Asia. I reached out and I heard back from Troy Gokenauer. Troy started working as an investigator for the organization after he lost money in a crypto romance scam.
By the time it was all said and done, and they kept telling me to put more and more in, I had lost about $25,000. The whole romance side of it was, it felt very real. It felt very legitimate. I felt like anybody else did. I felt like an idiot for falling for it. Like, I get it. Everybody who thinks that if you fall for a scam, you're dumb and stupid. Yeah, you're right. I felt that way. And when I realized that it was a scam, that my money was gone, I wanted to commit suicide. Now, I only lost $25,000. Maybe if I'd have had more money, maybe I would have lost more. Like, thank God I didn't. I realized I could not stay depressed and feeling, all those feelings. I couldn't stay in that place. I wanted to do something about it because I saw that we got a big problem here.
So, what can we do about this? For starters, if you've been contacted by anybody on the internet who's now coaching you for investing in cryptocurrency, you should know that it is likely a scam. You can change your WhatsApp settings so that only contacts can add you to groups, and you can leave and report the groups that you are added to. If you are a victim, you can report what happened to law enforcement and file a report with the Internet Crime Complaint Center, or IC3.
If anyone is watching this, and you are a victim of the scam, reach out to law enforcement. It doesn't matter if it happened last week or 3 years ago, because I have some good news. Back in June of this year, I received an email from the Secret Service saying that they have seized an account that my scam was tied to. And long story short, come this fall, I might be getting a full recovery of my funds 3 years after it happened. So I would encourage anyone, if they're a victim and they're watching this, report your losses.
It's also crucial for all of us to have empathy and patience for victims. The stigma and embarrassment of feeling taken advantage of prevents a lot of people from coming forward.